All right, let's dive right into this explainer. Today, we're looking at a massive evolutionary shift in data collection for 2025. If you do any sort of web data gathering, you've probably noticed that the old tricks, well, they're just not cutting it anymore. Outdated tech is being rapidly phased out, and residential proxies have absolutely become the new gold standard. So, we're going to break down exactly why this shift is happening, and more importantly, what it means for your digital business going forward.
We've got a lot of ground to cover. Here's our roadmap. First, the 2025 proxy problem, then evading smart bot detection, scraping and true geolocation, the new compliance standard, and finally, how proxies are moving beyond the IT team. Let's get to it.
Kicking things off with Section 1, the 2025 proxy problem, or when good enough is simply no longer enough. Okay, to truly grasp the shift we're seeing right now, we really have to look at the root problem. Back in the day, traditional data center proxies were considered, good enough for most automation tasks. They were super fast, incredibly cheap, and they got the job done. But man, the internet's defensive landscape has changed drastically. Data center proxies rely on these massive server farms and known IP ranges. So when a website security system sees, say, an AWS IP trying to scrape 1,000 pages at once, it knows instantly that it's a bot, and boom, immediate block. Residential proxies, on the other hand, use real consumer devices. They're natural, stealthy, and highly accurate. Relying on data center IPs today is just going to get you flagged right out of the gate, leaving you dealing with endless timeouts and basically garbage data. Think about it like this. Using an old data center proxy is literally like walking into a dead quiet library with a loud megaphone, instead of just seamlessly blending into the crowd. Websites and apps analyze absolutely everything now. They're even looking at things like TCP/OS fingerprinting. If your connection doesn't look and behave exactly like a real human on a real home Wi-Fi network, you stick out like a sore thumb, and you are going to get blocked.
Moving right along to Section 2, evading smart bot detection. This is all about the power of real devices. So what's the actual fix for this massive detection headache? Well, it's the residential proxy. And this is simply an IP address sourced from an actual physical device. We're talking a laptop in someone's living room or a smartphone on a 4G or 5G connection. By routing your business's traffic through a real device provided by a legitimate internet service provider, your activity appears 100% natural. Detection systems look at the request, they see an average home connection, and they have absolutely zero reason to raise a red flag. And the scale of this, it's honestly staggering. Top-tier providers like ProxyRack, for example, now give you access to a vast network of IPs across more than 140 different countries. We aren't just talking about borrowing one or two devices. You're tapping into millions of them globally. It effectively wipes out those frustrating CAPTCHAs and IP bans completely because you're constantly routing your requests through fresh local connections. All right, Section 3, scraping and true geolocation. This is how you see the web exactly like a local. If you're doing any sort of modern data scraping, you know it requires unbroken consistency, high volume, and absolute pinpoint accuracy. And to get that level of accuracy, you need true geolocation. It lets businesses act exactly like a local user on the ground. Just look at these use cases. You've got ad verification, making sure your global campaigns aren't falling victim to fraud and are actually showing up right in target regions. Global SEO tracking means you have to actually run searches from the target region to get real localized rankings. And then there's price monitoring, which basically requires you to teleport your digital presence to gather accurate hyperlocal competitor pricing data. Let's put this into perspective practically. Imagine trying to test exactly how your localized ads look to a user in rural Japan without actually getting on a plane and flying to Japan. You can't just guess, and you definitely can't rely on a data center proxy located in Tokyo if the ad is targeting a completely different prefecture. You absolutely need access through a local IP, getting granular down to the specific city or even the exact internet service provider. That is literally the only way to get a true window into what your end user is actually experiencing. Which brings us to Section 4, the new compliance standard. Because ethics and transparency are non-negotiable in 2025. In the early days, sourcing proxies was kind of the Wild West, but today, shady sourcing is a fast track to irreversible brand damage and some pretty severe legal trouble. Compliance is just no longer optional, folks. The modern standard is incredibly strict. Reputable providers use highly ethical opt-in systems. This means users explicitly agree to share their connections and they're compensated fairly for it.
Certified members of groups like the Ethical Web Data Collection Initiative, or EWDCI, they mandate clear terms of service, fully transparent pricing, regular audits, and strict opt-in consent. It's what keeps your data collection clean, totally legal, and audit-friendly. Finally, Section 5, Proxies beyond the IT team. We're looking at the true democratization of data. This is a real game changer. High-performance proxies are no longer just locked away in the IT department for developers and engineers. Just look at the spread. Marketers are logging in daily to monitor regional ads and A/B test localized content directly through the eyes of their target audience. Legal teams use them to anonymously investigate intellectual property theft and protect their brand, all without tipping off the bad guys. And cybersecurity analysts rely heavily on residential proxies for threat intelligence and abuse detection. They can probe malicious infrastructure while keeping their corporate identity totally hidden. It's the whole shebang. It has truly become a democratized tool for the entire organization. In this massive non-technical adoption, it's only possible because the technology's performance has finally caught up with the demand. The workflow today is so streamlined. You source an ethical IP, and then you have these really powerful options. You can seamlessly utilize intelligent IP rotation, meaning every single request gets a brand new random IP, which is an absolute must for large-scale scraping. Or, let's say you're logging into a multi-step portal. You can maintain what's called a sticky session, holding onto that exact same IP for an extended period to finish the task. You no longer have to sacrifice speed or risk annoying downtime just to look like a real human.
So the internet's defenses have seriously leveled up, making residential proxies the ethical, high-performance key to unlocking the web today. As we push further into 2025, you have to ask yourself a critical question. Is your data stack truly ready for the new internet? Are you still shouting through a digital megaphone, just crossing your fingers and hoping you don't get blocked? Or are you ready to blend in, adapt, and see the web exactly as your customers do? This shift is happening right now, folks. So what's your next move?